Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for another OPTC video, and in today's video we're talking about treasure map versus Reiju. We're going to be looking at my teams that I'll be using and giving you guys a few tips and tricks on how to take down this particular content. Now, there's quite a few good free-to-play units that have come out recently, and obviously with the quick meta running around at the moment, there are a lot of really good free-to-play options that are available for this particular treasure map. So we're going to talk about that. I'm going to show you guys to my teams and give you guys some sort of substitutes to sort of use if you guys don't have any of the rare recruits or anything like that. So before we start, let's talk about treasure map Reiju. So treasure map Reiju is a powerhouse fighter. Her special changes block slots to character zone type, reduces damage reduction and threshold by 5 turns. Very, very good. Unfortunately, she doesn't do the blue shield as well, but it is what it is. 5 turns of 2 of the most prevalent damage reduction buffs for the enemy is very, very strong. And now if the captain is quick or int, she's going to poison all enemies, boost the damage dealt to poison characters for 3 turns, and if the crew lands 2 strikes or 2 perfects in this turn, poisons all enemies for the next turn. So basically the way she works is she's a self-proccing conditional boost provided you have an int or quick captain, and she can carry her buff across 2 rooms. So you can use her special on stage 4 and carry it into stage 5 and have a conditional boost against poison enemies for 2 turns. Her captain ability boosts quick in attack by 3.5 and reduces crew's paralysis duration by 1 turn. Normally with free-to-play units, I say who cares about the captain ability, but treasure map units are a little bit of an exception. And as you can see here, this is quite a strong captain ability. A base 3.5 times multiplier and reducing crew's paralysis duration by 1 turn. She's going to be pretty viable in future content, especially future treasure maps, including the same one that she's on, as she's a 1.35 times booster. Her crewmate abilities is int and quick base stats by 25, and she reduces crew's paralysis duration by 1 turn as a crewmate, which is very, very strong. She attaches to Sanji, bunch of stats, who cares about that? Nothing really to talk about there. Her limit break ability, she has pinch healing. Pinch healing has become one of the strongest limit break abilities in the game, as basically every character can hold now 100 cotton candy on every single type, attack, HP, and recovery. So pretty much all good characters now have recovery, which means 1.5 times recovery if HP is 50% or less. Very, very strong for a free-to-play unit. As well as having recovery bind by 5 turns. 5 turns isn't huge, but it's still pretty nice. So that's treasure map Reiju in a nutshell. Let's get in and let's talk about the mini-bosses now. Or actually, before we start, let's have a look at the boosted units. So we have Ichiji and Ichiji and Niji as the main boosters, as well as Yonji as the 1.75. Now, your boy's not doing any treasure map pulls, the structure sucks, and I can't justify going to 3 multis just for Yonji, then to have to like be stuck on a 1-gem multi. You guys understand what I'm saying here, especially because Sugar's boosted part 1, and we already have Sugar, but Smoker is also boosted on this treasure map as well as Sugar, being a 1.5 times booster, so if you have one of those legends, you guys are in good shape for some good points. As to the 1.35 times boosters, we have the new treasure map Reiju, treasure map Zoro from the last one, Colosseum Gukimaru, Kazuna, Boa, and Luffy. We have the 3 rare recruits in Ivankov, Bonnie, and Ceasar, the 2 free-to-play Moria and Kuma, Rumble, Stussy, V2 Rayleigh 6+, Rumble, Blackbeard, and then the 3 Kazuna units, which is the Boa sisters, Margaret, and Grandma Nyan. As to the 1.2 boosters, we have quite a few units here, and as you guys can see, there is a lot of free-to-play units. So you guys could always throw together like the super type straw hats, the Psy ones. That works out quite well. You got Clash Big Mom, Colosseum King, Clash Anil, Clash Bellamy, the 2 CP9 raids, the Kaidos, the Dofi. There's a lot of really good free-to-play units that you guys most likely have in your box. Then we have a bunch of other more free-to-play units. So as I mentioned, this is a very free-to-play friendly treasure map, as you guys will be able to put together quite a few teams that get quite a bit of points, as well as being able to clear a lot of the content all the way up to level like 70 to 100 and stuff like that if you guys are hardcore grinders. So there's also some 1.1 times boosters too, which is quite nice. Obviously, your culprits of Enel and Whitebeard are always on this 1.1, as they're just great for wave clearing. So let's hop in and let's check out the mini bosses, find out what they do, and see what units I'll be bringing to take them down. So the first boss we are going to talk about today is Ivankov. Now, Ivankov is the character that triggers when you activate the treasure map bird for the extra 1.5 times boost. Make sure you hit that bird to get those extra points, as Ivankov and Inuyasuma aren't that tough. So once you enter the fight, stage 1, we get our quick characters get 10 turns of special reduction, which is excellent. And then on stage 2, we have Inuyasuma. Inuyasuma has around 430,000 HP, gains about 1/10 of that every nav level. He has around 4,800 attack and gains about 1/20th of that as well. Around 240, I think it is, per nav level as well. He puts up immunity to delay, a 5-turn blue shield, and changes all of our orbs to block. So to get around Inuyasuma with the team that I have in front of you guys, we are using a double sugar team, and we have the rare recruit Ceasar. Now, rare recruit Ceasar is going to change our block, recovery, and T&D slots to our character's own type, and then he's going to lock them so we can carry them into the next stage. We also get a chain buff with Ceasar as well as getting our quick and in characters a little bit more cooldown. Mainly that works just for Grandma Nyan. Now, she should have a special kind of like pretty close to max. And if it's not, I may have to replace her with someone like Clash Zoro. But to get around the defense up on this particular team, we have the Rumble Blackbeard. Now, Rumble Blackbeard is going to set all the defense to 0. He's going to give us an orb boost too, which is pretty nice. And basically, setting the defense to 0 means we don't have to worry about the blue shield at all. Moving on to the next stage after that, we actually come up against Ivankov himself. Now, against Ivankov himself, he's going to put up a preemptive immunity to all defects. He's going to give us attack down for 3 turns. He's going to put up a damage threshold for 3 turns for himself, and a burn for 3 turns as well. On the second turn and every 2 turns, he's going to bind 2 units for 5 turns. Under 50% HP, he's going to clear buff, blow away the captains for 2 turns, and under 20% HP, he's basically going to bind us. So ideally, don't get him below 50% HP, as he's going to do a bunch of nasty stuff. But he has around 1.5 million HP, and again, he goes up by about 1/10 of that every single nav level. And he has around 6,400 attack, which goes up by about, again, 1/20th, just like Inuyasuma. So to get around Ivankov with this particular team, we are going to be using the free-to-play Moria. Now, the free-to-play Moria is going to reduce our paralysis and attack down and our decreased chain multiplier by 3 turns, which basically means we can get around the attack down. But Ivankov has 3 turns of threshold as well, so we have to get around that. So we have Grandma Nyan here. Now, Grandma Nyan is going to remove the 3 turns of the threshold. Unfortunately, we'll set our chain multiplier to 2.75. The thing is, though, we can actually use her special first, then use our Moria special, and Moria will actually remove that. Now, the reason we want to remove that is because we are going to be using our Sugar special. Now, Sugar is going to turn everyone into bears, and then we can use her super typing to basically blitz our way through Ivankov. Now, this team doesn't have an attack booster on it, but it does have the color affinity from the... it still has the orbs from our Caesar unit, and has color affinity from the support ace. So with that, we shouldn't have any issues getting through Ivankov's HP, but we may need to bring in an attack booster or a higher threshold, higher color affinity. As I mentioned, with Nyan, she may not have her cooldowns, but some free-to-play options that you guys can be looking at instead of Caesar Clan, you can bring someone like the CP9, the quick variation. They're going to change to our captain, and if you don't have someone like Sugar, they're going to provide a higher captain ability as well. If you guys don't have Sugar, you can use someone like Dofi as the leader, the treasure map Dofi, as he gives a buff to driven units. Then you can replace Nyan with someone like Clash Zoro. Clash Zoro is going to remove the threshold there. And the bottom 2 units, they're both free-to-play units, so you guys should have access to them as well. Now, you can also bring a friend's Smoker with this particular team. Smoker is going to give us an attack boost. If I can find Smokers, that'll work fine, but ideally, I'm going to want to try and find Niji's, as Niji is going to be a much higher point booster. And I'm pretty sure Niji has an attack boost, or he has some sort of mechanic that gives this team a buff. I'm pretty sure he's a mono blue leader, so he should work out fine for us. Mainly, we're just going to be using him to get the extra points, though. For the first actual mini-boss, we come up against Caesar Clan. Now, Caesar Clan is a int unit who has around 100,000 HP. He's going to go up by about 1/10 of that every single nav level, and he has around 4,000 attack. He's going to go up by about 1/20th of that as well. So each boss will go up by that sort of margin every single nav level. But once you reach Ceasar, he puts up in a delay immunity, and then he puts up 4 hits of a perfect, great, or good barrier for 3 turns. He then puts up 4 turns of damage threshold as well, so you have to sort of look around how you're going to get around that as well. Now, against Ceasar Clan, if you are looking for a free-to-play team, you can basically bring the free-to-play Straw Hats and use someone like Shanks, like the Treasure Map Shanks, or you can use someone like Treasure Map X-Drake or some other characters that just remove barriers. The free-to-play Straw Hat team is all going to have color affinity against Ceasar as well, so then you can just bring people to boost your orbs and affinity. I'm pretty sure most of the Straw Hats do that, but for the team that I'll be bringing with the most amount of points is this particular team right here. So this team's led by Sober Mask, and we will be bringing a friend Reiju, the treasure map one that we're actually fighting against in this treasure map. I have this sort of Reiju on my team here just to sort of placeholder. She's going to be replaced with the treasure map Reiju. Basically with this team, all we're going to do is we're just going to jump with our Sober Mask, and Sober Mask is just going to basically be immune to all of the different defects. So we have Grandma Nyan on this team. She's going to give us a chain lock as well, and there's an orb boost with Margaret, as we have the 3 strength decks or int characters. But Nyan is actually going to remove threshold as well, so that works out quite well, but she sets the chain multiplier to 2.75, and all of these units are 1.35 boosters. So if you have Sober Mask, I would recommend running him as your leader and then bringing a friend Reiju, just purely so you can just jump and avoid all of the nasty defects that Ceasar gives himself. And the jump ability of Sober Mask is just basically going to be immune to the barriers, be immune to the threshold, and just blast your way through. Now, if you guys don't have Sober Mask, you can always just bring a friend Sober Mask, to be honest. So this team should work particularly well. As for how high it will get, I think it should get to roughly around level 70 or higher. I may have to start bringing 2 Sober Masks for the double jump, but I really don't see this team having too many issues moving forward, and if it does, I will have to start looking at ways to get around the barriers. But until then, we are basically just going to be using the jump ability of Sober Mask. Luffy and Bo is on this team purely just for points, and then the Kazuna boosters, they have their benefits, but again, they're basically here for points as well. Next mini boss we come up against is Jewelry Bonnie. Now, Jewelry Bonnie is a dex unit. She has around 450,000 HP at level 1, and she actually gets 1/10, shocker, of her HP every single nav level. She has around 4,000 attack as well, which goes up by 1/20th of that every nav level as well. She puts up a preemptive of 3 hits of a quick barrier for 1 turn, and then she sets up 4 turns of damage threshold. After the first turn and every turn after that, she's going to put up 3 hits of a quick barrier, so you need like a quick orb to break the barrier for 3 turns. And when she drops below 20% HP, she's just going to heal. So you ideally just want to kill her straight away, but the way that we're actually going to get around that for this particular team is we are rocking a full free-to-play Treasure Map Zoro team. Now, Treasure Map Zoro is key to this team. His ability to basically just do fixed damage through barriers, as well as reducing the threshold, is going to help us out quite a bit. So we are just going to use that basically to blitz our way through, remove the threshold and whatnot. But we also have the ship of Victoria Punk. Now, Victoria Punk can remove barriers by 1 turn with its special. So if we really need to, we can stall out basically the ship special till we get to the end. And the rest of this team is just built around red units. So we have Treasure Map X-Drake on this team. Treasure Map X-Drake is basically just going to be a wave clearer for as we make our way through as well. He does fixed damage depending on strength, dex, and quick orbs as well. So we can use him in the later stages as well. He's also actually going to remove barriers as well. So you could also use him to remove the barrier as well, depending on if you have the Victoria Punk or not, or if you can be bothered stalling. Next we have Class Jinbei. Class Jinbei is going to give us the normal attacks color affinity buff by 2 turns for our strength units. He's also going to set the defense to 0. I'm not sure how much we're really going to need that, but moving into the later stages, it's definitely going to help out. We have Treasure Map Big Mom for her amazing special. She's going to basically just give us every single buff. We may or may not use that. You can replace her pretty much with anyone, like Treasure Map Ace or any other red unit that's boosted. And then finally we have Kaido on this team. Kaido's here just for his HP cut. Nothing else really more to it. He gives quite a good attack boost after 12 hit combos, but if we use the Big Mom special, then we can't really look at that either. So the whole idea of this team is basically just use the Zoro specials, use the X-Ray special to remove the barrier if need be, and then just use Zoro to basically just wave clear. So Zoro is the MVP of this team, so make sure you run him as leader. He's also a 1.35 times booster as well, so you can get quite a lot of points with this team as well. And the beauty of it is completely free to play. On to the next mini-boss now, we come up against Kuma. Now, Kuma is a strength unit that has around 550,000 HP at NAB level 1 and has around 4,500 attack. Now, as a preemptive, he puts up immunity to delay. He gives us an attack down for 3 turns, paralysis for 3 turns, and changes our orbs to badly matching. On the second turn, and every 3 turns, he's going to blow away one random unit for 1 turn, and below 20% HP, he blows away your captains for 1 turn. So make sure you don't get him below 20% HP, because it's basically going to see the end of your run. But the main unit that you want to bring to get around this particular piece of content is this free-to-play Moria. Now, Moria is going to reduce paralysis and attack down for 3 turns. So he's the one that's going to remove all of the nasty effects that we get inflicted on the preemptive of the Kuma stage. And he's basically just the GOAT for this particular fight, as he's just going to remove the nasty defects purely just with his special. The leader that I'm using for my particular team here is actually Quick Deadbeard. Now, Quick Deadbeard basically is on this team purely for an attack boost. He removes Burn and Despair, but we don't really need that. He's going to give us a chain buff as well, which is great. He also boosts strikers and powerhouse units by 3.25 and a maximum 4.5, depending on our HP level. As you guys know, a very, very strong unit. But you can replace him with someone like Treasure Map Orobi as your leader, or you could even run the Moria as a leader as well. Now, with this team, I'm going to be looking at bringing a friend Smoker if I can, just for some extra points, and I'm not going to need Smoker for the other fights either. But if I can't find Smokers, I'll most likely just chuck on a Gecko Moria friend. This is a 1.35 times booster until I need that extra damage. But other units on this particular team is we have Kuma here. Kuma is going to give our units with a cost of 40 or lower a color affinity. So he's going to double the color affinity of those units, which is basically our Moria unit. That's about it. So Moria is the one that's going to be getting that main buff, as well as Kuma himself. Then we have Colosseum Neptune on this team. He's going to reduce attack down, as well as drastically reduce the enemy's defense and give us an orb boost. Finally, we have Clash Big Mom on this team. Clash Big Mom's here just purely to just do like a crazy large hit. She's also going to reduce our HP, which is going to like give us a higher attack boost for our Whitebeard captain. So this particular team, full powerhouse, full striker team. It's going to work very, very well. We also have the support of Bobbins on our Big Mom, and Bobbins states that if you get inflicted with attack down, he's going to change the supported character slot and adjacent slots to matching. So he's basically going to give Big Mom, Kuma, and Moria, as well as our friend leader, a matching orb. And that's how we're going to get around the badly matching orbs if we do need to hit. But basically, this team, it should do quite a lot of damage just with its like special abilities for a very, very long time. So we don't have to really worry about Kuma too much with this team. The whole downside is just trying to find a friend for those extra points. On to the final mini-boss now. We come up against Moria. Now, Moria is a quick unit who has around 600,000 HP and 4,500 attack. He's preemptive. He sets up a delay immunity. He despairs us for 5 turns, reduces the chain reduction by 5 turns, and changes all of our orbs to empty. On turn 2, he's going to clear buffs in Rage, and below 20% HP, he's going to set his attack very, very high. So, again, try and burst him on the first turn, beat him on the first turn. That way he's not going to clear our buffs, and he's not going to enrage if you get him below 20% HP. If you get him below 20% HP, he's probably just going to kill you, to be honest, like, just straight up. So the team that we are rocking against Moria is a full Dex team led by Legend Kid. Now, Legend Kid is incredible in the sense that if we use his super typing, he's going to give us a full board of bomb orbs through the sort of empty orb shuffle. So we don't have to worry about the orbs at the end there, as Kid's going to provide that. He's also going to be our attack booster for this team as we're running full decks. And he's just going to blast through Moria. So for the early stages, just his special and his super typing alone is going to be enough to kill Moria. But we are moving towards the end of the treasure maps, the higher stages. He is basically here for orbs and an attack boost. We also have V2 6+ Rayleigh here. You could run him as your leader or a friend leader if need be. I'll most likely be looking for him as a friend leader, as he's a 1.35 times booster, but he is going to be the orb booster as well as locking the chain. Because we get the chain reduction, if we lock our chain, we can just not worry about that, as it's always going to be set to 3 times no matter what. If you are running him as your captain and or on the team, you can bring someone that cuts HP. So you can move Big Mom onto this particular team. She's going to reduce the HP for us, so we can get the empty orb rotation, and that way you guys can get a full board of orbs that way. Next, we have the treasure map Luffy on this team. Treasure map Luffy's here to trigger the super typing of Kid, as well as give us an orb boost as well. We don't really need the orb boost per se, but he does remove despair for 4 turns, and then you could use the support of what's her name, Nami, the Valentine's Nami, so that way you can remove the rest of the despair. So that's another option if you guys don't have Rayleigh there. But the way we're going to be getting around the despair on this team is we are bringing Colosseum King. Colosseum King is going to remove the despair by 5 turns. He's also going to give it a self-proccing delay boost, but the enemy can't be delayed, so we're not really worried about that too much. But you could always use him as a captain. He's got a fairly decent dex captain ability, so if you're looking for a free-to-play option, you could run him as leader as well. Finally, we are just using Treasure Map Shanks here. Treasure Map Shanks is just on the team, literally just cause. He also rotates orbs as well, so that's another orb rotator for you guys if you're looking for that option. But for this team, we're just using him for the tap timing, and just because he's a dex unit, really, to be honest, that's really the reason he's here. I might take him out and just bring a wave clearer for some of the earlier stages. I'll have to have a look at the boosted units again, but he's on this team for you guys, just to sort of give you an idea that there are some other options to bring as the orb rotators. So this team should just blast through Moria, no problems whatsoever, just purely with Kid's super typing and his special. And then once we get to the later stages, we can start using stuff like our despair removers and our orb boosts and our chain locks and stuff like that. But this team should clear it for a very long time. If you really want to just blast through it too, you could just bring a friend Kid as well. But Kid's only a 1.2 times booster, with Rayleigh's a 1.35 times booster, so I would ideally bring a friend Rayleigh if you can. So onto the final fight now against Reiju. We are going to be using a mono quick team with Sugar as our leader. But before we get to Reiju on stage 4, we actually come up against Sanji. Now, Sanji is a strength unit that has around 430,000 HP and 8,800 attack. He's preemptive. He puts up 5 turns of Rainbow Shield. He's also going to just spare us for 5 turns, change our orbs to badly matching, and then lock the orb. So the easiest way to get around Sanji is actually using Gukimaru. Now, I'm not sure if it's a 5-turn Rainbow Shield that drops down to 4 turns because of his preemptive, or if it's 6 turns and drops down. I haven't really looked into it too much, but if it is 5 turns, we are just going to need to stall a turn with Gukimaru. Gukimaru is going to remove the Rainbow Shield by 4 turns, and he's also going to make quick and int characters type slots have matching effects for 3 turns. So basically what that means is the badly matching orbs are going to become matching for 3 turns, and we can carry that in to the fight against Reiju. He's also going to remove the Rainbow Shield, which is great, so we don't have to worry about that as well. He's also quite a decent captain too, if you really need to bring a free-to-play captain. I think Blackbeard might be a little bit better though. We'll have to sort of look into that. But that's basically the easiest way to get around Sanji. Now, I plan on bringing a friend Itachi for this particular team, as we can get some extra points that way. If I can find Yonji and Niji, I'll bring them as well, especially in the early stages. I don't have to worry about it too much. We can actually use Sugar's special as well to turn Gukimaru into a bear. And we can actually use Jewelry Bonnie as well for an attack boost. Now, Jewelry Bonnie is going to carry the attack boost into the next stage as well as removing the despair for us on the Sanji stage. So, once we've done that, we can turn both of them into bears if we need to. and then save the super typing for the next stage. Once we get to the next stage, we come up against Reiju. She's a strength unit as well. She has around 1.25 million HP and around 6,400 attack. Her preemptive, she's going to be immune to everything. She puts special rewind on our left column units for 3 turns. She gives paralysis on our mid and bottom row units, and then gives us a pretty aggressive poison. So every 4 turns, like on turn 4, every turn after that, she's going to paralyze the more units. And then under 50% HP, she heals. Under 20%, she binds all of our units for 30 turns. So make sure you don't get her below that. But basically, the idea of this particular team is we have our Ceasar Clown here. Now, Ceasar Clown is immune to special reverse for 2 turns. So he can basically avoid that special rewind. He's then going to give us some specials as well. And the final character we have on this team is actually Blackbeard. So Blackbeard removes paralysis and to set the defense to 0, but that's not going to be effective for us. You can use Blackbeard on stage 4 against Sanji if you really want to as well, to give yourself an orb boost, because we get the carryover of attack through Jewelry Bonnie onto the final stage, as well as having all the orbs matching with Gukimaru still. We can then use our Sugar special to turn everyone into bears, if you haven't already, and then you can use her super typing to give us the orb boost. But the whole idea of this particular team is the Sugared bears just avoid paralysis. We don't have to worry about the special rewind, because the bears are just going to blast their way through, as paralysis just has no effect on them. Ideally, if you can save Sugar until the final stage, you are going to do more damage, but in the early stages, it's just a little bit quicker to just let the bears do the work, to be honest. Some other units you guys can look at using on this particular team is using the CP9, the blue CP9 unit again. He's going to be a higher captain, especially for Driven, especially if you're bringing a friend Sugar or a friend Smoker. Kuma works really, really well on this stage as well, as he's going to work great on the Sanji stage. You can use Sanguro as well. He gives the special cooldown instead of Ceasar Clown, if you guys really need that. And obviously just using Blackbeard as an orb boost here too just helps out quite a bit. So the toy bears are basically the key to getting around Reiju. I don't really see us having too many issues with Reiju moving forward, but we may actually need to use some specials here and there. But if you guys don't have Sugar, I would highly recommend just bringing a friend. But if you have Sugar, you are laughing all the way to the bank, as Sugar is just easy claps for this particular piece of content. So there you guys go. There were my teams against Reiju. There were some tips and tricks for you guys too, so I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure to hit the like button if you want to stay up to date with more OPTC content I post. Hit that big red subscribe button too. But guys, most importantly, enjoy the rest of your day. I thank you all for watching as always, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Lights!